Good morning and happy Friday. It is right before Labor Day. How is everybody doing today? So, Natalie sent me a message and asked if I could talk on a specific topic. That is great. I love getting a message like that. Anybody that would want me to talk about something specific, please do that. DM me and I'll be happy to talk about that. The interesting thing is she wanted me to talk about relationships. And if there's one area where I would say I am the least qualified to talk about something, it would be in the area of relationships. As my daughter has pointed out, she's much better at relationships than I am. And I think that that's probably true. But the question that Natalie asked is, how do you know? I got divorced. My relationship with my daughter's mom and we went our separate ways, and then I got remarried. And her question was, how do you know? How do you know when you're done with a relationship? How do you know when the next person is right? Well, a couple of things. Number one, you don't. You never know that stuff for sure. There's no way to be for sure. There's no way to be for sure that a business relationship is going to work out. There's no way to be for sure that a friendship is going to work out. I mean, you never know. All of those things are a leap of faith. And the reality is in order to really feel the feelings, you have to be willing to take the leap. You have to go in first. One of the things that we'll do in a relationship is we'll hold back and we'll hold everything back and say, well, when I see everything that I want to see, then I'll go all in the relationship. But the reality is until you go all in the relationship, there's no way that you can see whether or not it's all there. Because if you're giving 0 and they're giving 100, you're never going to see the 100, and the relationship is never going to be what it totally can be until you go all in. So it's a leap of faith. And that's true with personal relationships as well as business relationships. And if you think about it, it's true with friendships. If you start becoming a really good friend with somebody and you start telling them personal information, that's a leap of faith. You're trusting that, in fact, they're going to use that information, protect you, be on your side, but you don't know that. I mean, if you've never had anybody betray you, then just wait, because it's going to happen. Because how many of us have had somebody betray our trust? We all have. So you can go through life and not trust anybody after that and protect yourself, but then you're missing out on all the juice of relationships. Humans are meant to interact. We're meant to commingle. We're meant to come together and form families and tribes and communities. That is what we're meant to do. So if you want to be a loner and never really connect with anybody, except like on a professional level where you keep them at a distance, you can do that, but it's a very lonely life. And you're missing out on a huge chunk of life. But anything that's really, really good is also really, really risky. Think about it in terms of finances. People that make the big hit, they make the big hit because they took the big risk. People that do something significant in sports, they take a shot, and most of the time it doesn't work out. I've got the poster in my office of Michael Jordan where it says 26 times during his career he was entrusted to take the final shot in the game and missed. But nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about where they were when they saw him make that one final shot to win the NBA championship. Winners want to take the last shot. Winners want the ball in their hands when the game is on the line because they trust themselves to be able to produce the result. But that means that they're not paying attention to the fact that it could go wrong. And when it does go wrong, they learn the lesson and they move forward. They have, Jack Nicklaus talked about how successful athletes have to have a very short memory. And what he meant by that is you can't remember the bad stuff. You got to learn from it, but you got to only remember the good stuff. Well, with relationships, it's the same thing. You have got to say, I want the ball and I'm going to go all in, or you're never going to feel the juice of the relationship. And can we control what other people do? No. The person that you go into the relationship with could absolutely crush your heart and do all of those things. And as I said, if that hasn't happened, it's gonna. But does that mean that we never get into another relationship again? Well, as much as we all say that, I'm never doing this again, the reality is, yeah, we are. One of the things that humans have to have, if your brain is functioning properly, one of the things we have to have is we need to love and be loved. We need to feel needed. We need to feel wanted. We needed to feel adored. We need to feel appreciated. However you language that, we all need that. That's one of our 6 human needs, love and connection. And we need to have those feelings. And you can get it in less exciting ways. You can get it from a pet. Sometimes people, overemphasize their kids and they get it from the kids. You can get it from your work. But the true area where we get it the most rewarding is in a personal relationship. So how do you know? How do you know if the person is right? How do you know? Well, you can intellectualize all you want. And Tony Robbins has a great decision-making model that I know I went through at least once here. But when it comes to matters of the heart, the best way to decide is to let your heart decide. And so there's this technique called heart breathing. And let's take a minute and we're going to do this. So think about a decision that you've needed to make for a long time, or it could be a short time, that you've been putting off, but something, it can be a little thing or a big thing, doesn't matter, but something that you need to decide. Okay? Everybody got one? All right. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Okay. Close your eyes. I'm going to keep mine open, but go ahead and close your eyes. And put your hand on your heart or both hands on your heart. And just for a minute, breathe into your heart and just be grateful for this incredible heart that was given to you. You didn't have to do anything to earn it. And just take a deep breath in. Let it out. And give thanks to this heart that started beating long before your brain started thinking. Beats thousands of times a day to keep you alive. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. It's there to protect you. It's there when you sleep. And just take a deep breath in and feel all the gratitude for this amazing heart. Breathe it in. Excellent. Perfect. Let it out. Now let's pick a moment in your life that you're grateful for. It can be a person, it can be an event, it can be something that happened, it can be little, it can be big, it can be real, it can be made up, it doesn't matter. Your other than conscious mind will do this perfectly. Think of something that you're incredibly grateful for and breathe that into your heart. All that gratitude of this amazing heart. And then add a second event or a person or a place or a situation. It can be small, it can be big, it can be in the past or in the future, it can be real, it can be made up, it doesn't matter. Something you're incredibly grateful for while your other than conscious mind takes care of all of this. Breathe it in and feel it in your heart. Just feel all that gratitude. And since we're here, let's add something that you're proud of. Add an event, something you accomplished, something you did, something you said, something that you're really proud of. When you think back on it, you think, wow, good for me. I did that. Feel that pride and breathe that in. Perfect. Now, staying in that space with all that gratitude and all that pride, ask your heart the question that you've been wanting to ask. What is it that I need to decide? And don't think, let the first answer pop into your head from your other than conscious and say it out loud. Go now. How many of you got the answer? Your heart knows the answer to that question. We intellectualize and we overanalyze particular situations, but when it comes to decisions, especially matters of the heart. Now, if it's a business decision, then you can look at all the numbers and you can look at the pros and the cons, and you can use the decision-making model If it's a decision, am I going to go to the concert or am I going to this family function? But when it comes to matters of the heart, you get connected with your heart, and then it'll help you make that decision. It'll make the decision for you. And whatever you spoke, that's the real decision that you need to make. And you know it. It just might not be the decision that you want to make. Normally, when we're delaying a decision, it's because we know it's right, but it's the uncomfortable one. It's the conversation we don't want to have. And so that's the one that we kind of push to the side. We go, well, maybe that's not the right decision. When we know that it is, it's just uncomfortable. So when it comes to matters of the heart, whether or not a relationship should continue or end, or whether or not you should start a relationship and go all in, that's the best I got in terms of how to make that decision. Breathe into your heart. And you can do this longer. You can do pride, and then you can do excitement, and you can do love. You can do all kinds of stuff and stack it, stack it, stack it, and then ask yourself the question, and before you know it, you'll be saying the answer. All right, everybody, happy Friday. My great Uncle Bill and Mr. Lampy, thank you so much for being on here almost every time. Corinne, nice to see you. Mr. Jehomo down in Florida, and my neighbor Brandon. How's the new puppy, that little Frenchie, Aramay? Great to see you guys on this morning. Truly appreciate when people take the time to watch. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other. Have a great Friday.